So the first thing that I did was I drew a bug from the bugs that I saw. I drew a beetle. And then I took my paper, I folded it in half, and I just drew half of the beetle on my paper. I just sketched it very, very lightly so that I would have somewhere to, as a reference. And look at my table is shaking because my camera is hooked to my table and I'm working on my table. So I just sketched half. I folded my paper in half and I just sketched half of my beetle onto the paper so I have some reference. And it's not a perfect beetle, it's just half the beetle. And so watch how I sketch it. And you can see it's not perfect. I'm not worried about it being perfect because I'm going to paint right over it. And what we're going to do is called a monoprint, meaning you make one print at a time. And I'm just using my black paint for this. And I'm just making sure it's really inky. It's not too wet. It's very inky. And I trace over my lines. And I make sure it's really wet and juicy. And then I fold it over and I press it. And presto, I get it print. And I do that for each one of my lines that I've drawn. And presto, I get a print. And every single line that I've drawn, I do that again and again. And I do it one at a time because I don't want the paint to dry out. If I wait too long and I try to do too much at once, the paint will dry out and it won't work. So I don't want to do too much at once because I don't want that paint to dry out. I add every little detail that I can so that the paint does not dry out. And I just keep going and going. And we're going to let that dry until tomorrow when we color it in and add all the fancy schmancy details. So you want to keep it nice and clean and try not to add too many details at once. Isn't that cool? It's called a monoprint. So this week we've printed 2 different ways, and both of them were monoprints. One we used the foil, and this way we're printing right on the paper. So I hope you had a fun printing week. And there you go.